Okay, so welcome to the overview of the Yin Meridians of the body. If this were a longer class, we would go way more in depth on each individual meridian and what is up. But this is an overview class and it's a theory class, and traditional Chinese medicine is not the only thing that we are going to cover. So we're going to kind of fly right in, talk about like the real key features of each one, and then you can get to studying that handout and the pictures on it. So the yin organs in traditional Chinese medicine are the heart, the liver, the spleen, the lungs, the kidneys, and the pericardium. So let's dive into that. The first one is the heart. It is abbreviated HT, and when you see meridian points like acupoints abbreviated or referenced in materials, you'll see things like HT2 or SP37 or whatever, GB34, and it is referencing the meridian starts with point number 1 and flows from point to point like a connect the dot all the way out to however many points are on that meridian. So if you see a meridian or a point labeled HT and then a number, that is a point on the heart meridian. So the abbreviation is HT. It starts with heart 1, which is in your armpit, and flows out the pinky side up to the pinky finger. Now remember, it's a yin meridian. It pulls the yin up, and this is our anatomical position. So it says to start in the armpit, and it flows up to the pinky from there. The primary functions of the heart meridian, heart organ, heart pattern are to govern the blood and vessels, makes sense, right? And to house the mind/Shen. We introduced Shen when we talked about vital substances, but I forgot to add that the Shen is what allows us to hold on to memories of the distant past. So if we deemed that the blood was excessive or deficient in some way, like the physical blood of the body, then we, in traditional Chinese medicine, would treat using the heart meridian and heart points. And if we deemed that the mind was disassociated, muddled, agitated, we would also treat the heart meridian and heart points, right? So because what I was saying in the last video in the intro, it's not that the organs are associated with an emotion. It's like they are the more physical aspect of the emotion. So anything in that realm, anything in the realm of the blood, of the Shen, we're going to be utilizing the heart meridian and the heart points to treat those things. And again, key features are it starts in the armpit and goes out to the pinky finger, abbreviated HT. The next one is the pericardium. Now the pericardium is seen as a supportive organ. It is typically abbreviated PC, and it refers to the casing of the heart. As an organ, its primary function is to protect the heart, like physically, but also to protect the heart in terms of our relationships with other people. A healthy pericardium allows you to express the warmth of your heart while having good boundaries, and staying like within your emotional center. The channel of the pericardium is said to move qi through the chest. So that allows for ease of breathing and whatnot. And the key, like, identifying features of the pericardium are that it starts up, like, not in the armpit, but like down on your rib cage, and goes up the arm to the middle finger on the yin side of the arm. So heart goes from armpit up to the pinky finger. Pericardium goes from the rib cage up the center to the middle finger. The next one is the lung. The lung is abbreviated LU, and it has many functions. The most important functions are to govern qi and respiration, to control the skin and the defensive qi. We've talked a couple of times about the wei qi, the defensive qi, and to house the po. The po is like the spark of life in all animals, including us. And this is kind of their way of noting that if you stop breathing, you die. So that spark of life is seen to be housed in the lungs. And by breathing, you pump that life qi, that po-ness, through the whole body, i.e. governing qi and respiration. And then it also has like that wei qi, the defensive qi just under our skin, responsible for like our immune response and whatnot. So the lung meridian starts kind of like up by the fold of the shoulder, but kind of by the coracoid process, and comes out the arm on the thumb side and out to the thumb. So of the 6 yin meridians, 3 go to the hand. Heart comes from armpit up to pinky finger. Pericardium comes from rib cage up to middle finger. And lung comes from the fold of the shoulder out to the thumb. There are also 3 yin meridians that go to the leg. The first one is the spleen. The spleen is abbreviated SP, and its primary functions are to assist the stomach in the transformation of food essence, therefore producing post-heaven essence, invigorate the muscles, and house the yi, yi, the yi. Physically, the ancient Chinese did not think much of the pancreas. They actually have a whole collection of organs that they were like, we're not sure these are important, / we don't really know yet what they do. And the pancreas was in there. And they basically attributed all of the physiological tasks of the pancreas to the spleen. So if you think of the pancreas, both its digestive functions of transforming food and its enzyme function of converting with insulin, of converting sugar into energy, invigorating the muscles, they attributed those both to the spleen. So spiritually, the yi is often translated as like the intellect. Therefore, I want to take a moment to compare and contrast the yi with the shen. The yi is like our ability to concentrate and focus in the present moment, like to memorize or study dry material. Or try to recall dry facts and data. The shen of the mind is our clarity of thought when faced with life's problems, and allows a coherent connection to our emotions and intuition and our wisdom, basically, you know. So the shen is like, I'm sure we all know those people who, like, maybe they're very wise and very in tune, but they don't like to sit down and just memorize dry facts, or maybe they, that kind of thing. Or maybe someone who is very intellectual, very on top of maybe a great high-level mathematics or in-depth specific knowledge of history, very intellectual person, but not necessarily very wise or in tune with their own intuition, right? So that's like the difference between being intellectual, having a strong yi, and being wise and coherent and connected to yourself, having a balanced shen, right? I hope that's clear. So anyway, the spleen meridian starts on the side of the rib cage and like jaunts up and then comes down the center, or not the center, down the front of our body to the inside leg, to the inside of the leg, and down all the way along like this surface to the inside of the big toe, right in there. Oh, sorry, but yin meridians bring the yin up. So actually spleen 1 is down here by the toe. The arm meridians start in like the chest and bring it up the limb. But the leg yin meridians start down in the limb and bring the yin up to the body. So spleen 1 is down on the inside of the toe, and it comes up the inside of the leg, up the front of the body, and then jaunts over to the side of the rib cage. All right, the next one is the liver, abbreviated LV. And the primary function of the liver is to ensure the smooth movement of qi. So like when you can really get things done and you feel balanced and you feel moving, and maybe you just took a yoga class, you're getting that liver qi moving, right? Also it's considered to store the blood and house the hun. In traditional Chinese medicine, the hun is like the ethereal soul that comes down from the essence and ether and blends with us and then returns to the heavens after our death. The hun can reincarnate lifetime after lifetime, but in each incarnation, in each lifetime, the hun blends with that spark of life, the po, and that body's yi and shen and ji, which we're about to talk about next. And the combination of all those things makes you who you are in that life. And then even though the hun is seen to go up to the heavens and then come back lifetime after lifetime, it's not like in the West, we kind of consider the soul to be the real true you in some philosophical models. Like you don't have a soul, you are a soul, you have a body is often the model in many Western spiritual practices. But in traditional Chinese medicine, the hun is the ethereal soul, but it's not all that you are. It's just your connection to their divine and the heavens. And even though it gets reincarnated lifetime after lifetime, they do not consider it to retain memory. Deep memory is retained by the shen, which dies at the end of your life. So yeah, that blend of shen, po, yi, ji, and hun create a whole new person every time. Anyway, the liver meridian is a yin meridian, so it starts at the bottom and works its way up. And this one starts, so it also starts down on the toe here, and then it comes up the inside of the leg and it like jaunts across the midline and then goes up to just below the breast on the chest. And there's not a lot of meridians that swoop across the midline like that. So if you're looking at a yin meridian of the leg and it comes from the toe up, swoops across the midline to the opposite side and ends right below the breast, that's the liver meridian. Okay. Then we have the kidney. The kidney is abbreviated KD and is referred to as the root of life because the primary function is to store Jing essence, right? That's that precious treasure and therefore the kidneys govern growth, reproduction, development. If you have a client who, like in traditional Chinese medicine, if you have a client who comes to you with fertility issues, you treat their kidney meridian, among other things. And so also the kidneys are seen to produce the marrow and house the Ji. Now the Ji is often translated as willpower. And it's more about like pursuing your goals and maintaining your focus in the long term. So Yi, the intellect, is about being able to have like really get in the zone and really focus in that one moment. Whereas the Ji is about being able to pursue goals over a long period of time. Remember that the kidneys, they house that Jing. It's about the development and growth throughout your whole lifetime. So one study session, you would be using your Yi just to study and memorize those facts. But your ability to enroll in college, follow that all the way through and then graduate, that's more your Ji with that kidney, that staying power, right? Yeah. So the kidney meridian, the defining feature is that it starts on the bottom of the foot. So kind of like, okay, so you have your toes and then you have like your ball of the foot, and then there's like this little hollow right where the ball of your foot is about to turn into the arch. That's kidney point 1. And they have, in traditional Chinese medicine, they have all these little rules that seem a little odd, but when you get to know the information, then it makes sense. So like one rule to like protect your vitality in traditional Chinese medicine is to not let your feet get cold. And that's because kidney 1 is on the bottom of your foot. And you want to nurture and protect that Jing. And because that's the end point, it's considered to be a bit of an outlet. And so when you let your feet get cold, that's like slowly draining the battery on your kidney qi, which eventually can affect your Jing. So when you see weird things like this that don't make sense, like don't let your feet get cold and don't drink ice water and stuff, it's probably something related to that. Anyway, I'm getting off topic. The kidney meridian starts on the bottom of the foot. It wraps around the inside, comes up the inside of the leg, up not like right on the midline, but pretty close to the center, and then ends up by the collarbone. But in terms of the 3 yin meridians that go down to the leg, the one that starts on the actual bottom of the foot, that is the kidney meridian, if you're looking at it. So the final yin meridian, I will note, is not associated with an organ. It is called the conception vessel, and it's considered like pretty serious, powerful stuff. You don't just whip out working on the conception vessel for no good reason. There's got to be like, it's considered bringing out the big guns in terms of traditional Chinese medicine, acupressure, meridian work. And frankly, its uses are complicated. I am not gonna pile it on. I am not gonna include it on the test, but it wouldn't be complete of me if I didn't at least let you know that it existed. So the conception vessel starts on the genitals, comes up dead center right on your midline, and ends at the mouth. And there you have it. Now you know that it's there, and It's not, yeah. Now you know. So that's it. Okay, so that is the Yin Meridians. Remember, you're going to need to look at a picture of the meridian and be able to identify and like pick multiple choice style for my test. And honestly, when I took the NBLEX, it was mostly multiple choice, or not the NBLEX, the National Board Exam, it was mostly multiple choice also. I think it was entirely multiple choice. Anyway, you're going to be able to need to look at a picture and be able to identify them. So take the time with the handout to really study those pictures. Remember those key features like the kidney starts on the bottom of the foot, the liver meridian crosses the midline, the heart meridian goes to the pinky, the lung meridian goes to the thumb. These types of information, so that when you see that picture, you can say, haha, that is clearly the pericardium meridian or whatever. So there you have it. All right, so that's the Yin Meridians. You study that, and we shall see each other again next week. Bye, guys.